legitimate means by going to the court and then seek redress. So this has been from there to now. So for us, the peace accord, it's something that it's not just a ceremony that's come to stay, but it's also more like a symbolic representation of the need for us to be united and see how we can look beyond the elections. After the elections, of course, we still have life, we still have human beings. So that is basically what we're looking at, to promote social cohesion and also to ensure that peaceful existence is also promoted.
So from your last line of thoughts, can I take that and say that is the significance of the accord?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll talk about the significance of the accord. We're saying that is it possible to bring together some of these men that are quite busy with the activities like we have currently in Edo State? We have campaigns. So bringing them together to say, okay, we need you to sign. We need you to assure Nigerians, to assure Edolites that, yes, we are for peace. And so we'll continue to promote these ideals before, during, and even after. And of course, when we're talking about peace, we're not just talking about the negative peace as well. We're also talking about the positive peace to see how these leaders, even when they get into office, will continue to ensure that the voices of Nigerians, the voice of Edolites really count. And that is actually the significance of it here.
Fantastic stuff. Love to see it. Now let's address the elephant in the room. A lot of people believe that when these candidates, when they come and sign this accord, it's just something that is done for eye service, that it doesn't really have any consequences if they do breach it. So I want to ask you, what happens when a signee breaches this contract?
Yes, that question keeps coming up here and there, even in a series of engagements. And so when such questions come up, the first thing I say is what will bring credible men together, men who probably have served the country, men of integrity together to say, okay, is it possible to commit others to peaceful processes before, during, and after the elections? That thing must be a very important thing, a very serious thing, and something they would not want to take for granted. So for the members of the National Peace Committee, made up of credible men who cut across the different cadre, people who have been in probably at the point of service in the country, the highest level of service, and people who probably still serve, talking about religious leaders, traditional rulers, and even CSOs, okay, businessmen and women too, and others who probably are seen as patriots to come together. It simply means it's a serious thing. Now, looking at the aspect of, does it really count when people come to sign? Is it really like a ceremony? And I said, yes, it would have been worse if candidates, if chairmen were not probably committed to saying, okay, do you pledge to work for peace? Do you pledge to promote the ideas of peace before, during, and after the elections? And what we see is that, like other institutions, the National Peace Committee has its own mandate. And so during elections, just like the president or just like INEC is asked to, okay, like we had the INEC chairman talked about ensuring that the integrity of INEC, of the commission, is promoted. We have the security agencies too also doing their job. We have also the CSOs who are advocating for a better Nigeria, a better country. We also have the journalists too who are also promoting these through both the traditional media, of course, both the electronic and the print media. In all of this, you realize that everyone has actually a job. So for the to play and a role to play. So for the National Peace Committee, its job is to use its moral instruments or powers, convening power, to the point of even bringing on board the president to say, okay, can you actually pledge to Nigerians that, yes, you stand for peace and you work for peace? Now, when we bring them together to sign the peace accord, most times people sign and say, oh, it's just a ceremony. Are you sure they hold us accountable? And that is why, but the truth is that, yes, people are watching. First and foremost is that we have partners to the signing of the peace accord. We have weaknesses. And the two major weaknesses we have the signing of the peace accord. The first one we have at the national level is the INEC chairman. And the second person is the Inspector General of Police. Now, the idea is that at least these two are there. The INEC chairman interfaces almost every now and then with political parties. And the Inspector General of Police is soon okay as a face of security and ensuring that Nigerians can go and vote amicably. So at the state level, we have the resident electoral commissioner and we have the commissioner of police. So the idea is that it becomes easy to hold accountable these persons who come to sign the peace accord. And in the midst of all of this, we also have the international community watching. So what it means is that if probably a candidate go to sign the peace accord and afterwards the candidates fail fail to live up to expectation, it's very easy to hold them accountable. But it's not in the mandate of the Peace Committee to go after these persons. Of course, we have the document that even can be served even in the court of law. We have this document that even the security agency can actually use too. So the idea is that after the peace accord signing, the Peace Committee is actually currently re-strategizing to see how very much these persons can be held accountable for whatever it is that they signed for. So this is basically some of the ways in which the National Peace Committee is actually probably bringing forth credible and probably intentional ways to see that these persons too work based on what they have actually signed. And that is basically what we'll continue to do.
All right, fantastic. But let's look at the possibility of consequences. What do consequences look like for these people? Is it as tiny as a travel ban? Is it as big as being prosecuted? What are consequences to not adhering to this pact?
Yeah, so when we look at consequences here, of course, like I said, even the international community is actually watching. And I think in the series on the previous peace accord we signed, the UN will say we are watching you, the resident electoral coordinator will say we are watching. So the idea is that peradventure one or two of these candidates or chairmen or persons who signed and probably at the end did not meet up to the expectation, there could actually there could be cases like recalling. It could be aspect that has to do with the visa. It could be actually travel ban and all of that. It could even be the aspect of inviting this person for questioning by the security agency. But like I said earlier on, what the Peace Committee did in 2015, like at the end of the Peace Committee is not just made up of this committee who come together to say, okay, can we sign the peace accord? There is a secretariat on ground. And what the secretariat also does is to ensure that we have reliable information, not actually projected by fake news or by mere say or assumptions. So even before we talk about the aspect of holding them accountable, so we need to check also to go to the field. And that's why we have our research persons who we have our field observers, we have what we call the National Peace Committee Situation Room, okay? And we have, of course, partners that we work with. So for the National Peace Committee, it's not just relegated to, let's see how we can hold this person account. But there are other CSOs, the civil society organizations, that we work collaboratively with to see how we hold accountable. Now, in the past, in the 2015, the 2019, and even the 2023 general elections, there have been this perception that, is it just a mere ceremony? And that is what has prompted also, because we do also what we call the impact assessment to see how far we're going. That's what also prompted the National Peace Committee to have a meeting to see how it can rejig and also to re-strategize better ways in which these persons can be held accountable. Thus, the need to even involve the judiciary. Since at the end of the day, it seemed that every road leads to the courts, in this case. So now, in re-strategizing to get even better, the National Peace Committee is looking at probably a strategic means to hold this person account, and also potent means as well, not just making it like, let's gather, let's sign, and then everybody goes. But just to add, that you see that in the previous, between 2015, 2019, and even 2023, the cases of violence to a very large extent have actually reduced, has dropped, especially when it comes to dousing tensions. I remember a couple of times where it was perceived that, there's going to be mayhem, there's going to be riot, there's going to be crisis. The National Peace Committee had to quickly intervene by reaching out to the president, and there was even a meeting, an emergency meeting with the security agency at the highest level. And this went a long way in dousing the tension and also in inculcating in Nigerians this the spirit of patriotism, and also the faith, increase the faith of Nigerians to say we can once again believe in our democracy and even make it better.
All right, fantastic stuff. If you're still listening to us, I'm sat here with Emmanuel John Nkata, who is the project manager and also in charge of partnerships for the National Peace Committee. You're thinking to yourself, what is the National Peace Committee? Come September 12th, the candidates involved in the Adogu by-election will come together and sign a pact to ensure that there's not going to be any kind of violence on their path on the forthcoming by elections, and we're talking about it. I'm going to give you some chance to also ask him some questions questions if you're interested. I'm live on Facebook. A few comments are there already. You can join us. If you want to ask him a question concerning the peace accord, there's been so much talk about the peace accord. It's been signed in 2 days. You can call me on these numbers: 0705 512 9881 or 0705 572 7881. We also have 0902 672 2592. Now for text and WhatsApp, the number is 0705 967 6881. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Okay, not you, love. Hello, good evening. Hello. Right, do call us back. We're waiting for the kids to resume school. It's so important that they resume school. It's very important that schools resume. So very important to me. All right, let's get some few more. Hello, good evening. What's happening on that line is breaking. Please call me back on that line. Thank you so much. Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, who gave you this phone? Who gave you this phone? Where's your mom? Well, thank you so much for calling me. I really appreciate you. Call me in the morning by 7:10 a.m. We have a special kiddie segment and we'll be able to take your call at that time. Thank you, sweetheart. Hello, good evening. Hello? What is going on this phone line? The phone line is jamming. All of us are trying to call at the same time. We may have to give some time to let other people come to that particular line is jammed. Now, if you're hitting a jammed line, try this number: 0902 672 2592. That is 0902 672 2592. I'm also live right now on Facebook at Super FM Benin. You can leave a comment. Thank you so much, King Ebuka Evangelist. God day. It's not a question, it's a thought. I'm going to leave that thought. I don't want to see that thought on radio. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening and welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling us from, please?
This is Amoni James.
Very happy to have your money, James. So go ahead, ask a question concerning the peace accord.
Yeah, so me, I'm sorry in order not to counter the person in the studio. I really don't think actually the peace accord actually works. Because first of all, I wanted to ask a question. Is the peace accord constituted by has it been passed into law?
Emmanuel?
That's my question one.
All right. Okay,
And there
one.
were some states where they were, and again, there were some states that there was so much violence, and it was directly purported towards some certain persons who support a party, like last state election, in federal election. We still don't see some persons who have been punished as a result of that. And we know some of these political parties who also actually released these men from some certain individuals. I haven't not seen since I've been a little boy in 1999. I've not seen the political party leaders being punished for that, neither the candidates. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let me get one more. Hello, good evening.
Okay.
Hello, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling me from? Oof. All right, so let's go ahead and answer those two questions. Just first of all, has the peace accord been passed into law? And secondly, people do not seem to get prosecuted. Either they're not prosecuted on time or not prosecuted at all. So go ahead.
Okay, I think for the first one, it's still more like a process. There have been series of calls. Okay, can we pass this into law and make it in such a way that this person can be called upon by the government or the constituted authorities at any time? But that's what I said, that for the peace committee, there have been series of thoughts towards that, towards, of course, series of engagement. In the first place, these men and women, these credible men and women came on board to deploy their convening power, following the trust that Nigerians actually have in them. And it is against that backdrop that they have been actually moving. But, like we say, change itself is constant. And there are times where you get to review whatever it is that you're doing and see how you can make it better. And that is where the National Peace Committee stands for now. And then I think the other question where he asked about those who are probably where we had potential threats of violence. Now, there's something that most Nigerians don't really know about, that when we have issues of violence, when we have issues of protest and all that, the National Peace Committee does a lot of conversation at the back end, Now, this at the time, based on security reasons, you don't need to come every now and then and tell Nigerians we are here, we are meeting with this person. There are a series of even meetings with security agencies, and even coming up with strategies. But you could imagine after having a meeting of that nature, such sensitive meeting, you come out and tell Nigerians this is a strategy to curb issues of violence, and this is then it's no longer.
And if it's an ongoing case, you can't really discuss it.
You can't discuss it, And so these are some of the areas you have to be sensitive with all of this. Also,
but do you have statistics? Can you say that after this 2015 election, because of the peace accord, because of the consequences that was received, we saw that in the next election, this?
Yeah, so currently we're just completing what we call an evaluation. And the report, in fact, on Thursday, I think that report should even be presented to us, where we had an evaluation of the impact of the National Peace Committee, and also from 2015 to 2019 and 2023. But from just peeping through one of the reports that was sent to us, we observed that at least the aspect of violence, the issue of snatching of boxes and all of that has actually dropped, to the point that, we were looking at the percentage of peaceful processes. Let's say it can be, since we're talking about negative and positive peace, we can talk about 60%. Yes, especially for a country that, for the 6 geopolitical zones, we're a country made up of we're divided along religious, ethnic lines and all that, but trying to ensure that we continue to come together. But like I said, in due time, I think that election report was presented officially to us, and we'll be very glad to share that report. And those, because it's good when you quoting figures, you don't just quote based on assumptions or mercy. So we'll be very glad to share even the soft copy with Super FM, and also with some of our audience who would like to have that. Yeah.
Right, and that's our time. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Any final thoughts? So give it to me in 30 seconds.
Well, my final thought is that the National Peace Committee, aside the electoral aspect of it, still work on non-electoral matters. And so there have been a series of engagement with youth, with women, with persons with disabilities. So for the National Peace Committee, we don't just wait for the election day to come before we begin to make probably commit ourselves to ensuring that peace itself is promoted. So even before, during, and after the elections, there are a series of engagements, of workshops, of training, of peace building of conferences that we organize for youth, women, persons with disabilities, and other key stakeholders, especially the CSOs.
So I'm interested in any of these things. Is there any way I could reach you? Social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Is there any way I can reach you?
Yes, at the Kuka Center.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get us. Yeah, I think, yes, we'll share that.
All right. So the Peace Accord itself, will it be streamed live anywhere?
Yeah, sure. It will be streamed live. Yes.
Okay, be streamed live on your Facebook and your YouTube. That is at the Kuka Center. Okay, that is at THEKUKAHCNTRE. Facebook and YouTube. You can watch the live streaming of the Peace Accord signing. Yes?
Yeah, and Joyce, I think since we're talking about last thoughts, I think it's important to say that it would have actually been worse. The violence itself, and if not for the Peace Accord and committing members, candidates and chairmen to sign the Peace Accord. For the last thoughts and the last word for Nigerians, especially do like this, keep on being that ambassador of peace, and together we can build a better world and a more peaceful and humane world. Thank you very much.
Fantastic stuff. My name is Joyce Jukes. This is Super 88.1 FM, your one family, one radio station. And I've been speaking with Emmanuel John Nkanta, who is a project manager and also in charge of partnerships for the National Peace Committee. Come September 12th, the Peace Accord Pact is going to be signed. After that, we have the NUJ organized debate. And then, of course, we have the main event, the Adogu by-elections, come September 21st. Hope you'll be there. Good evening, Edo State.